Hello and welcome to the second part of our tutorial. So today we're gonna finish the rest of the scene. Okay, so we're gonna import the ground created previously in Blender, create some nature assets, use Maya paint effect system to generate some trees, and at the end we're gonna use the Maya physical sun and sky system in mental ray to lighten up our scene. But first we're gonna create the the background, sorry, volcano from a bitmap image. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started, and I'm gonna use the this version, Maya 6.5, which is much lighter, and my computer is slow, especially when recording this Cam Studio. I mean, it's a good program, uh, but it consumes too much RAM. Okay, so I'm gonna use this pretty version. So I'm gonna import the ground created in Blender, switch from wireframe mode to smooth shade all. Okay, window rendering editors, hypershade, and I'm gonna assign a new material, and it's gonna be a Lambert. Link it with a 2D file texture, link it to color, and I'm gonna import very quick a texture, the final texture, this one. Okay, so select it, right click, assign material to selection. Okay, hit 6 on your keyboard. I'm gonna create a new layer, and I'm gonna call it ground. Okay, select it, select the ground, right click, add selected objects, turn off the visibility. I'm gonna create an NURBS primitives plane. Also we can create a polygon primitives plane for the background for the volcano. So hit R to scale. Okay, now select it, go to channel box, inputs. I'm gonna crank up the values here to something like 80, and I'm gonna switch to modeling tab, modeling the modeling module, sorry. So polygons, in your case it's gonna be mesh. Okay, so go to mesh menu, sculpt geometry tool. In my case it's sculpt polygons tool, option box. So sculpt geometry tool, option box, reset everything. I'm gonna use a solid brush, pull. Okay, here I'm gonna put so the max displacement gonna be 60. For the attribute maps, this gonna be the bitmap image, which we're gonna import right now. Okay, so it's black and white, and it does magic. Okay, so watch, you don't have to sculpt a volcano, just use a bitmap image. Okay, so we're gonna place this volcano, and to place it, make sure to modify freeze. Now modify center pivot. Okay, and turn on the visibility of our ground. So the camera should be placed somewhere here, and the volcano should be facing our camera. So W to move, and we're gonna move it to the back. Okay, I hope my English is clear because I'm not a native speaker. I'm not an English person. Hit E to rotate if you want to. Hit W to move. Okay, that's gonna work fine. Select it, go to window rendering editors, hyper shade. You don't have to select it. Okay, so I'm gonna create Lambert and a 2D file texture. Middle mouse to color. Okay, double click, and we're gonna import a texture, which gonna be, I think, this one. Okay, so select your volcano, right click, assign material to selection. Also I'm gonna middle mouse drag to bump map and create a bump node. So bump map, this node, select it, double click, go to bump depth and put a value of 0.2, 0.3 maybe. Also I'm gonna do the same thing for the ground. So middle mouse drag to bump map, double click, but this time I'm gonna put a value of 0.1. Okay, I'm gonna create a new layer, name it whatever you want. So volcano, maybe volcano. Okay, and select volcano, right click, add selected object, move on to something else. I'm gonna create some rocks. Okay, so either you choose to work with NURBS primitives, sphere or cube or anything you want to work with, or polygon primitives. Okay, so if you're gonna use this one, you will have to face the UVs. Okay, so you're gonna create UVs and spend a lot of time creating UVs. So I prefer to work with NURBS primitives in some cases like this one. So I'm gonna create, hit F to frame, and I'm gonna create I'm gonna try to place the control vertices of this sphere to make a rock, something that looks like a rock. Okay, nothing special, and I'm gonna pause the video for a while because it takes some time. Okay, I'm gonna create 3 rocks. I'm gonna pause the video. Now it's time to texture them. So window rendering editors, hyper shade. I'm gonna assign a new blend. This time I'm gonna use a blend shader. Double click, make sure to put a value of 0 reflectivity. Okay, and gonna use a 2D file, drag it to color, double click, and we're gonna import a texture, and we're gonna use maybe this one. Okay, select one of these, right click, assign material to selection, middle mouse to create a bump map from the same file, double click and put a value of 0.3 maybe. Okay, move on to the next rock, another plane, double click and put a value of 0 reflectivity and assign a new file texture to color, double click and maybe this one, select one of these, right click, assign material to selection with the mouse, bump map. Okay, now the last one. Gonna use the same, we're gonna do the same thing, so double click, make sure to turn off the reflectivity, double click and I'm gonna import this time this texture, right click, assign, middle mouse to bump map. Okay, double click and we're gonna put a value of 0.3, so just to make sure. It's different than to Desk Maya, so go to Hypershade and I'm gonna make sure that this one, I'm gonna make sure about the value of the bump, so I'm gonna put a value of 0.3 bump depth. Okay, so we're gonna paint these on our ground using modify paint scripts tool. Okay, and to do this we need to place them or snap them to the center of our grid. So I'm gonna modify center pivot and freeze transformations. Okay, so we need to drag them to the center of the grid and then freeze their transformations. Okay, so W, hit X to snap, and we're gonna snap this one and this one. Nothing is hard until now. Okay, so select all of these, edit, delete by type history, just in case, modify, freeze transformations. Okay, so turn on the visibility of your ground, also of your volcano, just to make sure where to place them. So we're gonna place a lot of these here and here facing our camera, and some here, maybe some here. Okay, so select your but first go to outliner and I'm gonna rename this to ground. I'm gonna rename this to volcano, this to rock 1, very quick, rock 2, sorry, rock 1, hit enter, rock 2, hit enter, rock 3. That's it for now. Select your ground, make sure to edit, delete by type history, modify freeze transformations also, and modify paint scripts tool. Okay, and I'm gonna reset everything. So So leave everything, just focus on the first, I don't know what its name. So tool setup, cmd command, tool setup command, type in geometry paint. P should be uppercase. Okay, so geometry paint, hit enter, and now we're gonna put the names of our rocks. So rock 1 space rock 2 space rock 3. Okay, rock 3. Feel free to enable or disable the grid. I'll leave it as default for now. I'm gonna enable X rotation, Y rotation, and Z rotation. Okay, and I'm gonna sculpt some rocks. Sorry, I'm gonna paint some rocks. Okay, it's much easier to work with grid disabled, but it's gonna paint like 10 per click. Okay, so I'll show you later on what I mean. Okay, what do I mean? And I'm gonna paint some maybe here, some here. I'm gonna try to rise up the jitter value and see if that makes some changes, but it's not making any change. So put some here, put some rocks here, not too much. Okay, we're gonna delete some of these, we're gonna place some, and we're gonna maybe get rid of the ones in the middle here. Gonna make some rocks here. So Maya is a powerful tool, very complete, and it's also very expensive. So I'm gonna turn off the visibility of our ground and volcano, and I'm gonna delete some of these and place some facing the camera, and pause the video for a while. Okay, alright, now it's time to move on to something else. I'm gonna add a new layer, maybe call it rocks, and I disabled the poly surfaces selection, so I'm gonna enable it. Turn off the visibility of my ground, delete this one maybe, select all of these, right click, add selected objects. Okay, edit delete by type history if you want to, modify freeze transformations, and I'm gonna turn off the visibility to focus on something else. We're gonna create some rocks. Okay, so no, I'm sorry, we created the rocks. We're gonna create some plants. Okay, so I'm gonna create this time a polygon primitives plane. Go to channel box, inputs, polyplane, subdivisions width and subdivisions height, put a value of 2, and I'm gonna shape it until it's gonna looks like, well, it looked like a blade. Okay, so shape it, maybe move these, hit F, make sure to hit F to frame. Okay, so these I'm gonna move them up, this one also, maybe down a little bit, select these, maybe this, push it down, these I'm gonna pull them up, or no, maybe this one down. Okay, something like this. Okay, now I'm gonna move it and hit insert, and that's gonna let you place your pivot, and I'm gonna place it not here but maybe here. Hit space if you want to, hit F to frame, hit insert. Also you can hit D to place your pivot. Okay, now it's time to go back to window, rendering, editors, hypershade, and assign. I'm gonna stick with the Lambert shader, the 2D file texture, middle mouse to color, double click, and I'm gonna import this time the PNG file. Okay, PNG is a format, so I'm gonna import it. Textures, this one. Okay, select your mesh, right click, assign material to selection, and it's gonna stack for a while, not for you, not for people who own stronger computers. So maybe middle mouse to bump map, double click, and it's gonna stack again. In my case I'm gonna put a value of 0.1 maybe, and I'm gonna create UVs. So go to create UVs. In my case it should be here under the edit polygons menu. So create UVs menu, take planar mapping. Okay, option box, and I'm gonna reset everything here. So enable keep image ratio, that's important. Also use this one, fit to bounding box, and y-axis. Okay, so hit project, I like to work with this manipulator here. this T sign, and I'm gonna scale it maybe to fit the mesh. Okay, now hit E to rotate. Maybe I'm gonna hit R to scale it a little bit, hit E to rotate, and we're gonna make some copies of it. So Control D to duplicate, repeat the duplication, Control D or Shift D in your case. It doesn't work here, I think. In alias Maya, the Shift D doesn't work. Okay, Control D, and I'm gonna make a new row somewhere here. Control D. It doesn't have to be perfect. Maybe this one down, this one maybe up, one more time, and create another row. Maybe here. Control D one more time. Okay, maybe create one more row. Now select everything. If you are satisfied, I'm gonna create another row before I combine them. So Control D, hit E to rotate. Control D. And that's it. So select everything, go to mesh, combine. In my case it should be under polygons menu, so mesh menu, combine. I'm gonna turn on the visibility of my ground, so I'm gonna scale it a little bit. I'm gonna hit R to scale. Okay, also we're gonna paint this plant, sorry, on our ground. So select it, make sure to delete by type, history, and what's more important, to freeze transformations. Okay, so freeze transformations, select your mesh. Before that, go and rename it. So I'm gonna rename it plant select your ground, modify paint scripts tool option box. I'm gonna type in plant, okay, so plant, and hit enter. But before that we're gonna turn off the X rotation, turn off the Z rotation, hit enter. Why it doesn't want to work? In my case should work. Okay, it works, and but first I'm gonna maybe go back, and this time I'm gonna disable the grid, okay, and I'm gonna see. So start painting your plants, okay. With this one here, that's it. So I'm gonna pause the video one more time and place these, delete the invisible ones, like this one, okay, and this one also, okay. So pause the video for a while. Right now it's time to move on to something else, but first we're gonna create a new layer, call it plant or plants. Select them all. Maybe you can if you want to, you can go to mesh menu, combine, gonna combine them to one single mesh. We're gonna call it bushes or plant. Let's try bushes. Now this version, if you put the same name as the layer, it won't work, okay. So let's put plants. See this one, okay. Right click, add selected objects. Now it's time to create an ocean shader. So I'm gonna turn off the visibility of the grid and create maybe a polygon primitives plane. Also you can create an ERPS primitives plane. It gives you the same result. Hit R to scale the river in our case. Maybe rotate it if you want to. Okay, so window rendering editors hyper shade, and this time we're gonna use an ocean shader. Gonna select the mesh, right click, assign materials to selection, double click, go to common material attributes, transparency, to something like this. Maybe this gonna work, okay. So let me pause the video for a while to think. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to finish the rest of the work on Maya, Autodesk Maya this time. Okay, so we need Maya physical sun and sky system, which doesn't exist in this version. Okay, it doesn't exist, so I'm gonna save it in a new folder, and I'm gonna call it Maya, and maybe scene or something like that. ASCII, Maya ASCII. I'm gonna use Maya ASCII. Also, you can use Maya binary. I'm gonna use Maya ASCII. Pause the video. So it's gonna stack several times, and I'm gonna pause every time. Okay, now it's time to create or to generate two trees from the paint effect system. I'm gonna select, so I'm gonna add a new layer and assign the this river in our case. So channel box, I'm gonna call it river. Hit save, turn off the visibility, and it stacks. Okay, I'm gonna pause. I switch it to wireframe mode, which is lighter. So select your ground, go to rendering menu or rendering module, go to paint effects, and pause. Okay, I'm gonna pause.